What's up, y'all? Logan here. As an avid collector and strategic investor myself, I am so stoked to announce the launch of Liquid Marketplace, a platform where collectors can buy and sell fractions of rare collectibles via tokens on the blockchain. As a co-founder of Liquid Marketplace, I believe we're set to level the playing field by allowing anyone to own a piece of the world's rarest collectibles and build their portfolios instantly.
If you thought Logan Paul's crypto zoo mess was wild, this next chapter takes things to a whole different level. Just when people believed the chaos was behind him, another massive project rolled out, and somehow it landed even worse. Fans watched their money vanish again, and Logan moved like it had nothing to do with him, like he was just a face in the crowd watching it all unfold. The crazy part is that years ago, he wasn't quiet about this at all. He was on camera bragging, smiling, telling the world this was his company and his next big move. That confidence is now coming back around in a real, uncomfortable way. Fast forward to now, and federal regulators are officially sniffing around. That alone tells you this isn't just internet drama or angry tweets. Things are heating up fast behind the scenes, and nobody knows yet if this ends with fines, settlements, or something way more serious. One thing is clear though, Logan Paul is not just trending anymore, he's in real trouble territory. That's why it's time to break down this so-called liquid marketplace, and how this whole situation spiraled the way it did. So what even was Liquid supposed to be? On paper, it sounded smart and futuristic. Logan hyped it as a next-level platform where everyday people could invest in rare collectibles like art, trading cards, and high-end memorabilia without being rich. Instead of one wealthy collector dropping millions on a single item, fans could buy small slices of ownership through tokens. Everybody gets a piece, everybody wins. At least that was the pitch. You'd buy tokens that represented fractional ownership, and in theory, you could trade those pieces whenever you wanted inside the marketplace. Logan sold it like a smooth, modern way to flip collectibles, almost like the stock market, but for rare items. To a lot of fans, it sounded like a cheat code to get into a world that usually shuts regular people out. And Logan wasn't just quietly backing this from the sidelines. He was front and center, calling himself a co-founder, pushing it hard, and presenting it as some kind of revolution. He framed it like regular people were finally getting a seat at the table instead of watching billionaires hoard everything. The ultimate flex of the whole platform was his prized Pikachu Illustrator card, known as the rarest and most expensive Pokémon card ever. This wasn't some card you toss in a binder, this was museum-level, high-security, glass case type stuff, the kind of item meant to symbolize power, wealth, and exclusivity. A security guard named Vlad, the same guy who allegedly fought 7 bears and somehow walked away with the Pikachu Illustrator card, has been baked into Logan's storyline for years. That myth followed him everywhere. Logan wore the card around his neck, flashed it at events, waved it in interviews, and pushed it non-stop as proof that he wasn't just another rich YouTuber chasing shiny cardboard for clout. In his mind, this card made him look legit, like a serious investor who really understood the collectible game and wasn't just playing dress-up with expensive toys. Then, the noise got louder. Logan started popping up on Fox Business, talking like a financial mind, discussing alternative investing, while major outlets picked up the story. Reports said he planned to auction the Pikachu Illustrator card in early 2026, which already raised eyebrows. But what really made people uneasy was the advice he was giving while doing the media run. He openly brushed off traditional routes like stocks and long-term investing, and leaned hard into collectibles instead. The message was basically, don't play it safe, don't wait, go buy Pokémon cards. Or better yet, buy fractions of them using his platform. When asked what advice he'd give younger investors, his response stunned a lot of people, and not in a good way. It sounded reckless, like hype over responsibility, and people noticed.
What do you tell that group of young investors out there?
I think if you have the money, don't be afraid to take a risk, especially if you're young. Young people have a ton of energy. I had a lot of energy when I was younger. I'm 30 now and I'm Unc and I have a daughter, I'm a dad, and so I have way less energy. But if you're young, there are ways to spend and invest your money in ways that might mean more to you than a traditional conservative investment like the stock market. Whether it's a trading card, a piece of art, a piece of a dinosaur, like a sports memorabilia, game worn, anything.
Birkin bags. They're beating the stock market. Their appreciation.
And you're absolutely right.
Beanie Babies. Some of this stuff could be faddish. It's not there's no inherent value to it, like a Beanie Baby,
Sure.
it'll crash.
Sure. It's entirely possible. You gotta be careful with what you're investing in.
Or trade out of it quick.
Or trade out of it.
Then comes the part where Liquid Marketplace crawls back into the story at the worst possible moment for Logan, right on Christmas Eve. Out of nowhere, Logan reappears with an explanation that immediately raised alarms. He revealed that the Pikachu Illustrator card had already been listed on Liquid Marketplace before, meaning users were able to buy fractional shares of it. Actual tokens tied directly to that card were sold back in May 2024. This wasn't speculation, it was confirmed. People had real money locked into pieces of that asset. Here's where the plot twists. Logan admitted that after the card had been listed and fractionalized, he later repurchased it. That detail changed everything, because once you sell fractional ownership, you're no longer the sole owner. Anyone holding tokens tied to that card should have been paid out according to the percentage they owned. That's how the system was supposed to work. You buy shares, the asset gets bought back, the investors get their cut. Clean and simple. Logan claimed he was told the payouts were handled properly behind the scenes. But then he added something that sent the situation into a whole different lane. He stated that the company and some of its principals were now facing regulatory scrutiny. That single line shifted this from messy business drama into something far more serious, and it made people start asking questions that weren't going away, adding a process in which I had no involvement in or insight as it does not relate to me. That single line instantly set people off, because when you strip it down to the basics, the situation looks real ugly. People were supposed to get paid, but they didn't. Money went missing. Users were locked out and couldn't withdraw anything. And instead of clear answers, Logan wrapped everything in a soft, polished message that sounded calm on the surface. He said, "For those affected and unable to withdraw your funds, please know that I'm actively working with Liquid Marketplace to help ensure these funds can be released in the near future, just as intended when I repurchased the Illustrator in May 2024. Stay tuned for updates." On paper, it reads caring and responsible, but the internet wasn't buying it. People caught the problem immediately. Community notes popped up reminding everyone that Logan Paul isn't some random third party stepping in to help. He's a co-founder of Liquid Marketplace. He once called it "my next company" and pushed fractional ownership hard back in 2022. That context flips the whole statement upside down. His message sounds like he's an outsider lending a hand, when in reality, this was his platform, his vision, and something he was deeply tied to from day one. That detail changed the entire conversation, and people noticed fast. Now here's why the business model itself matters. Because it's confusing by design. Imagine owning a vintage Rolex, a signed Kobe card, or a one-of-one Pokémon card. Instead of selling it outright, you lock it in a vault and sell digital fractions online to hundreds or thousands of buyers. Everyone pays in, but nobody actually gets the item. You don't touch it, you don't control it, you can't decide what happens to it. You're buying the idea of ownership, not the thing itself. It's like paying for part of a Lamborghini that you'll never see, never drive, and never even hear start up. All you own is a digital promise. And according to reporting and allegations from regulators, this is where things started going left. Because once real money is tied to digital fractions, the big question becomes real simple and real scary. Who actually controls the asset? And where does the money go when things don't move the way people were promised? So the question everyone started asking was simple but uncomfortable. What did people actually own here? They paid real money, sometimes serious money, and yet there was nothing solid they could point to and say, "This is mine." No physical asset, no control, no clear paperwork, just digital fractions floating in a system they couldn't access. That's when the situation stopped looking messy and started looking dangerous. Then things escalated fast. In June 2024, the Ontario Securities Commission filed for an enforcement proceeding, alleging that Liquid Marketplace executives illegally diverted millions in investor funds for personal enrichment and misled investigators. That's not a paperwork error or a misunderstanding. That's heavyweight stuff that regulators don't throw around casually. According to reporting from BetaKit, roughly $3 million out of more than $10 million raised was allegedly misappropriated through hidden payments and other methods, including alleged personal loans that were never paid back. That kind of allegation sends alarms ringing everywhere.
A very hard decision to make, but yes, I will be listing this card on a platform that I co-founded called Liquid Marketplace. It allows co-ownership of top-tier assets. So instead of one person, me owning this card, we as a collective can co-own it together. I'll also be listing it for $5 million instead of the $5.3 million I bought it for. So basically, I'll be giving you guys $300,000 discounts because everyone likes discounts. And I should say this, I'll be retaining 49% ownership of the card. So I won't actually have access to it. It'll be in our vault. But if I want to wear it out to fights or a Pokemon box break, or maybe even put it in a museum one day, the community can decide if we want to do it.
Now here's an important detail that defenders love to point out. Logan Paul was not named directly in the OSC enforcement application. Other owners of the company were. And that's where people jump in saying, see, not him, he's clear. But that argument falls apart fast when you zoom out. If Logan wasn't involved, why was he the public face of the platform? Why was he promoted as a co-founder? Why was his reputation used to build trust, only for the platform to land under regulatory investigation later? That contradiction matters more than people want to admit, and somehow it gets worse. The OSC allegations also claim that users invested millions believing they were buying legitimate fractional ownership of collectibles, but only a small number of those collectibles allegedly had proper legal agreements backing them. That's not a technical slip, that's foundational. Because if there's no legal agreement tied to your fraction, what do you actually own? A screenshot, a dashboard number, a promise that depends entirely on trust. At that point, the whole platform starts looking shaky. It feels less like ownership and more like a digital illusion, bringing back memories of the NFT chaos where hype replaced substance. Fast forward to now, and Logan's tweet claims a buyout happened in May 2024, with money intended to go to fractional owners. At the same time, users are still locked out, unable to withdraw, and completely in the dark. Scroll online and you'll see the same story everywhere. No access, no answers, just silence, and that silence is loud. That's the absolute nightmare scenario for any platform holding user money. If your entire business model is built around helping people trade ownership, but users can't even access their balances or withdraw funds, you're already in deep trouble. At that point, trust is gone, patience runs out fast, and everything starts collapsing under its own weight. That's not a glitch, that's a full-blown crisis. And this isn't just social media noise or internet outrage anymore. Beyond the tweets and comment sections, the Ontario Capital Markets Tribunal has publicly listed the Liquid Marketplace matter, with additional hearing dates already scheduled for June 18th and 19th, 2026. This situation is active, ongoing, and very real. That's exactly why Logan's Christmas Eve tweet didn't land as comforting to a lot of people. Instead of sounding like, hey guys, I care, it felt more like panic control. More like, uh-oh, this is getting serious and I need to get ahead of it. The timing alone raised eyebrows everywhere. Why speak up about people's money a year and a half later? Why now, when hearings are scheduled and regulators are still involved? Even if Logan Paul wasn't named directly in filings, Liquid Marketplace was promoted publicly with him as a co-founder from the start. Press releases, industry coverage, interviews, and even recent tweets all framed him as someone connected to the outcome. You can't play both sides. You can't be the face when things look shiny and then step back when everything starts burning. That's why the criticism goes deeper than just calling this another Logan Paul scam. The real issue is the pattern. Over and over, Logan gets involved in complex financial products aimed directly at his fans, and every time it ends in controversy, investigations, or legal messes. At some point, it stops looking like bad luck and starts looking calculated, or at the very least, careless on a massive scale. So what happens now? As of today, Logan claims he's working to help users access their funds. The OSC allegations against Liquid Marketplace executives are still unfolding, with more hearings coming in 2026. Will users ever get their money back? Will the platform finally explain what really happened behind the scenes? And will Logan ever fully admit his role in promoting risky financial products to an audience that trusted him? That's still up in the air. Logan wants to be seen as a serious businessman, but every new investment project keeps ending the same way. Controversy, investigations, and damage control. Maybe it's time he sticks to boxing, WWE, or YouTube, lanes that don't involve fan savings and financial promises. If you made it this far, drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like if this breakdown helped, subscribe to the BeyondFame channel for more deep dives like this, share this video so others stay informed, and I'll see you on the next one.